Okay, people. So, joining me today is Ellie Jane, who is the star of The Way. Like, Ellie's done it all. You know what I mean? Basically, models, stunt woman. You know what I mean? Just a crazy ass career, Ellie. So, yeah, I'm hoping you are ready because we are going to get into everything today.
All right, let's get into it.
So, I mean, because we kind of we've looked at the way, so let's get into that because it kind of seems to touch on some of the things that you've kind of brought to your life, right? So, Kwaijon, Kwaijon, is that how you say it? Kwaijon?
Qigong.
Qigong. Okay. Yes. So the martial arts, which, really kind of centers the character. And I believe that's something you do in your own free time as well. So it's like, yeah, how did this role come to you?
I love that question. It's always such a loaded question. Well, first of all, luck, but then also I'd have to say a lot of it was kind of life experience, and it just happened to be the perfect combination of where I had been and where I am today. And so I really related to the character. And I think that it was just one of those things where it was like, I got lucky. It was the perfect film at the perfect time. And I hit it. So I hope I did a good job. I really enjoyed doing it a lot and I could relate to the character and I just used my life experience. So when people ask that, it's like kind of my whole lifetime, you know? And I like to say
Yeah.
that too for those people who, maybe starting later on in life and think, oh, I don't have much to do. But the thing is, like, you can always start again. You can always start a new career. You just never give up. That's the thing.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a bit. I think back in the day, it was the mindset that you had to start these things young. But we've seen over the years that people just doing countless things, you know, later on in life and having a lot of success. So I think when you see certain journeys, it definitely helps. It's that inspiration to be like, oh, damn, I could do this too.
Yeah, and I think too, it's a lot of fear. It's like negative self-talk, but it's all us getting in our own way and telling us we can't do it, and I'm too old, or I'm too fat, or like all of these negative thoughts that the only person that's standing in the way of it is me, right?
Mm.
Because I'm the one saying that to myself. No one else is, well, they could be, but fuck them. You know what I mean? Prove
It,
'em wrong.
yeah,
Right.
no, but that I mean that is the best mindset, really, because I think whatever you do, right, there's gonna be some people that are like, oh, that was great, and then some people will be like, nah, wasn't buying it, don't like it. And a lot of the times, I think some people might have some fair critique, but sometimes people, there's no merit to it. Really, they're just saying it just because they might be in a bad mood that day. You know what I
It's
mean? There's so many other factors why people might just go, "Nah, you're rubbish."
yeah.
And
Really what they're thinking in their mind is, "I'm rubbish, so I'm gonna
mm,
reflect it on you."
yeah,
So that's scary, right? Because, and that's why when I got approached to do this film, I'd done all this work because that was me. I was the negative Nancy, such an old saying, but I was the negative person who was, being rude about other people. But really, it was an inner struggle that I had, like all of like women deserve all these things and blah 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 blah. But really, it was like an inner struggle with me, and I clearly realized that like I needed to do work on myself before I could help you women, bop bop bop, like right, because like
mm,
it's an internal job. So in order for me to make a better planet, like I got to do work. I have to make myself better. No one else is. So yeah, sometimes, but sometimes, my acting, it can be trash, but whatever. Live and learn, you know?
Hey,
You learn from it.
well, I think that's the thing. But there's been times when I've had to give presentations at work and stuff like that, and there's times you do it and you're like, I killed that, and then other times you'd be like, ugh, why did I wake up today? That was so bad. So bad. That project is not getting off the ground. You know what I mean? But it's like you often know, right? You often know what you did wrong and be like, and sometimes it's just not your day. Sometimes it might be an experience thing, but yeah, sometimes it's just a shit day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We all have shit days,
Yeah,
you know?
for real. But this isn't like your first acting role. So you know what I mean? You've done other things. So what was it that was, giving you that doubt at first when you were kind of looking at this?
The doubt, even the negative self-talk, or
Yeah, just all of it. Because you know what I mean? Like, hey, anyone looking, you've been pretty friggin' famous, right? Pretty successful, a model, right? You've done these previous films, right? The stunt work and just all of you've done stuff. Like more stuff than a lot of people have just even dreamed about doing, right? Some people just, I wish I could be a model. You didn't.
Mhm.
I wish I could be a stumper. You've done that. Yeah, I wish I could act in something. You've done that. So, like, you've done all of these things that there's been people that just wanted to do a percentage of what you've done. So, where's your doubt coming from?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, first of all, thank you for saying that. And again, sometimes here's the positive, right? Sometimes people see in you things that you don't see in yourself, because it's my life, right? So I'm
Yeah.
so closely attached to it that sometimes I don't see other things that other people can point out to me, right? And good things and bad. Like I could have a character defect that you're pointing out to me that I really need to fix.
I
Or
mean, I'm going to get to that later. Okay. Okay.
I'll say that I got to the age 35 and I really wanted to do more feature films. I wanted to do more leading lady. And I kept getting in my own way. I was still drinking, smoking weed, and then I ended up with this eating disorder. And I was killing myself. And the funny thing about the camera is, it doesn't lie. So unless the camera wants somebody that's really fucked up with an eating disorder who has bloodshot eyes, I wasn't working that much. So it's a blessing and a curse, right? In this case, for me, I look at it as a blessing. I wasn't getting those jobs because I had more work to do on myself, right?
Mm.
And I got sober. I, fixed the eating disorder, which I didn't see. I didn't think it was a problem. And I just started healing. Like I think sometimes life happens and then you forget to do the self-care for yourself. And that's kind of what happened. I wasn't treating myself kindly. And I had some work that I had to do. I had to take a hiatus.
Yeah, what was the thing that obviously there was the part of you is it's like I'm not getting these roles, but what was like the real big thing that kind of was just like, yo, Eddie, fix up. Like this ain't working for you.
Right.
What was that?
Okay. So after doing all those things, I started doing a inventory of fears, right? So one of them was schoolwork. I was going back to school. I was so fearful of going back to school again. Right. I'm 35, going back to school, humility, having to go back to that humility. I've already been working. And I really had to get through this fear of going back to school. I went back to school during COVID. The universe kind of pushed me to do it, right? It's like, well, you got fired from your day job, and then I started taking classes and I booked this role. So that was a huge
Ah,
moment for me, was to go back to school.
nice. And how's that going?
It's going good. It's going good for sure. I mean, I learn something new every day if I'm lucky.
Splendid. Like when's the graduation? Like how many more years?
I don't think I'm ever going to graduate from learning. I think if I do, then that means I'm going the other direction. You know what I mean? I'm like dying
Mm.
instead of living. Um, so I plan on continuing, you know, to, if not be a life student, to be a student, if I'm not working, to be going back to school and studying, at least, now I keep talking about COVID. It's just changed so much, how we audition, how much we audition. Time wise, I can get so much more done in a day. I'm so sorry about the pandemic, but it's really pushed me to, I do yoga in studio at home. I do all my meetings at home. I do all my auditions at home. So I have so much more time in a day, and I can really sit at home and fine tune and then watch back, which when you're going to auditions in person, you can't see. I got a tick here. I realize I got this freaking eyeball tick, I got some other things. Anyway, I'm able to play it back and go, oh God, I need to work on that. And I can work on it as long as I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's awesome. I love it.
No, I mean, listen, the pandemic, it was, yeah, it wrecked a lot of people's lives, but it's kind of the great reset for a lot of people, right? Because it gave people the opportunity. Sometimes you were, you made redundant from a job you hated. So then you had the time to go, okay, what are the things that are important to me? Let me pursue that. Or, for yourself, it's like the audition process. You were able to fine tune that. So I think it gave people a platform to renegotiate their lives a lot of the time. So I think it is fair to be like, hey, this worked for me, right? Like it was bad for a lot of people, but for some people, hey, good things came out of it. And I think you take those bad situations, right? You take those bad situations, they're those learning curves for you. And if you can make something good out of it, why not, right? Why not? And so look at it, you can look at it be like, yo, this was positive for me. So I'm glad it was positive for you.
Well, I think also 9/11 was when I was homeless and on methamphetamines. So that was 2001, 2001, yeah. And I remember when that tragedy happened, I just crumbled, as I'm sure a lot of the world did. And I remember when this, tragedy struck, I wanted to do the opposite. I just had that mindset. A lot of it is mindset, right? How do we talk to ourselves? How we think? How can we make things positive and go towards the light, go towards the love? I love that. How can I, anyways, I could go on, but I'm going to stop there.
No, hey, yeah, I think it's things sometimes people need to hear. So, hey, never stop yourself, man. Just let it go, right? Be like that chicken, that Frozen-y film. You know what I mean? Let it go, right?
I love it. That's so good.
So yeah, so okay, so you went back to school, and then this role came along. So did you see it online, or someone sent it to you? You auditioned, like what was the process?
So there's a breakdown for actors where they can submit. I have an agent or I can self submit. And this just happened to go on the basic breakdowns, probably because it had stunts involved. A lot of the times I have a stunt background. So they'll put it in both. And, I'm like, if my agent's not going to work for me, I'm going to work for me, right? Because this is my job. I learned that in sales when I was selling perfume on the streets when I was young. It's like, I can't blame it on you for not working for me. I have to do the work, right? So I got to put as much time as I did selling those perfumes, or I'm going to be working for someone else. So that's kind of what I did. And I think he was casting for 6 months, and he had some serious names that he could have chosen. And he chose me. I went it was a long process. So it was auditioning online via Zoom. And then finally we went in for an in-person in-person meeting. And I just got super honest with him and like, here's my experience. Here's how I know I can relate to this role. I've been homeless. I've been drug addicted. I've, I have the stunt background. I was a gymnast, like, and now I'm towards the light. So I know what it's like to be in the dark and I know what it's like to be in the light. And I really think that, I can handle this role. So, yeah, it was such a long process. And, when and such a great character arc, as, as an actress, it's like it was the perfect combination to have, such a high, high and a low, low, and it was all centered around this character. So, you know, setting intentions, right? When I started setting intentions about where I want to be in the future, when I was started doing the work on
Mm.
myself, this was one of the intentions that I wanted. I wanted leading lady roles. So for me, it was like a dream come true. And it was also like an affirmation that, like, so you shall seek it, so it will find you, or something like that. It's much better than when I say it. But I mean, seriously, you put it out
Yeah.
into the universe, and it will come if you do the work. So,
Well, I think that's the thing, right? It's doing the work. You know what I mean? Because it's like you had an agent, and a lot of people might think, all right, well, that's it. Like they will now get me roles, and they won't look themselves. But it's like, as you said, you have to still put in that work, still look, because they'll be looking, but then they've got a different criteria maybe in their minds. So they
mhm,
might have seen that role and gone, I don't think it's right for Ellie, right? But you saw it and was like, no, I want to do that role. So sometimes there's that. Sometimes they're just looking in a different place than you might look. So
different
it's
grade.
just like, yeah, you have to, if you want something, you really want that thing, why not look yourself? Why not move on different fronts to try and get that thing? You
Mhm.
know, I think that's what we need to do. And I think a lot of times people, it's a lot of half measures, right? It's just like, well, I've done that, that's enough. And it's just like, well, what else could you do?
Mhm.
Right? Is there more you could be doing for yourself? You know?
No excuses.
Exactly. Exactly.
Excuses are like assholes. Everybody's got them.
Maybe. I don't know. There might be people without. Who knows? Who are you to judge, Ellie?
I love that expression, though. Like, just don't give me any excuses. That means for me too. Like, I don't have, like, I'm pretty tough on myself, as you can see. Um, and I tell bad jokes. Um, my son's always like, Mom, no, no. So, he's my toughest critic. I
Well,
love him.
you need someone to center you, you know what I mean?
Totally. Oh God, totally.
All right. So what was the hardest part of doing the film? Because yeah, there's the fights and like the emotional things. And I gotta say, right, I did think the strongest part of the film was the self-reflection, the journey that Jane was on. I thought that really seemed to resonate. You really kind of believed that she was going through this process.
Well, to be honest, um, when I was doing that one scene, and that was the scene I auditioned with, it was when I was talking to my boyfriend, baby's daddy. Um, I was talking to my disease. I was talking to my drug addiction and it killing me. And, you know, um, I just kind of again use life experience to transition, right? Like, you have to let me go. Like, I had to let that love, and right, because if you drink or you use alcohol in excess and you're an addict, like, that becomes your everything. That is your lover, that is your best friend,
Mm,
that's everything, right? So it's like, if you love me, you've got to let me go. Meaning, if I love myself, I have to let me go. And for me, it was like I just had to trust that there was something higher, that there was a higher purpose for me on the planet. That my work here wasn't done, and I wasn't really ready to give up. And I completely, transferred to the other side. But I will say, like, I don't regret it. I mean, yeah, I did some stupid shit, but like, I wouldn't be who I am today. And today, like, I love me. I can't say that used to say that. Like, I can sit here and I can love you from wherever you're logging in, because I love me. So, without the darkness, I don't know if I would have ever had the light that I have today.
I think that is it's always an interesting thing because I think a lot of people will hear that and go, is she crazy? Like, why would you want to go? Like,
Maybe.
why would you want to go through shit? Like, why would you? Can't you still be happy without going through that? But I do understand because I think it gives you the appreciation, right? Seeing the other side of something, you then truly appreciate the things that are in front of you. And I think that we see it a lot, right? There's people that get things easily, right, handed to them, and they don't appreciate it. Or how many times have you seen people enter a relationship and then it ends and then they realize sometimes a month later, a year later, years, that that person was their person and they fucked it up,
Mhm.
right? Because they just didn't appreciate shit. They didn't understand the darkness, right? So they couldn't appreciate the light, right? So sometimes we need to go through
Right,
bullshit to be like, okay, I don't want to go there again.
right. We have to.
Or, okay, that's rock bottom. I can appreciate this right now.
For sure. For sure. Without the darkness, there isn't light.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you have to, but I think that for me, in my experience, um, I need both sides. I think that life is a healthy balance. And when I start to numb out on food or sex or alcohol or whatever it is, anything that's consuming me, I'm missing out on life. I'm missing out on joy. I'm missing out on sadness. You know, um, like my auntie is not doing well right now. It's sad. It's so sad. Right? But, like, I get to have these feelings and these emotions, and, like, I numbed out for so long, and I ran from so long that it feels so good to feel.
Mm.
I love to feel. I love that I can sit here and have a conversation with you and connect. I just appreciate it, and I did. I had to lose people. I had to lose custody of my kids, in order for me to learn valuable lessons. But I will tell you, those children saved my life. If I didn't have those kids, I probably wouldn't be on this planet. And it took the loss of custody of them for me to figure out how to get my life better.
Yeah. It's crazy how things like you don't know until something like that happens. And then it kind of you work it out, right?
Mhm.
It clicks into place and you can prioritize and understand, okay, these are the things I need in my life.
Mm.
So what keeps you balanced now? What was the things that keep you from tipping one way too much?
Well, I have a great community around me. My kids are now older, so they're out of the house. I've kind of created a life, a different life, right? Life takes on different evolutions, from being a mom to, being a stunt person to being a model to, there's all these different evolutions. So, I have book club. I'm involved in this wellness. I go to a lot of different wellness meetings and even work with that on time from time to time. And I just have a really good core group of people in my circle that I know I get along with all my family now, all my siblings. like my mom, my dad, like, I mean, I wasn't talking to them. So I have like, since I did all this work, I now get along with everybody, babies, daddies. Like, I'm telling you, life is on fire. You know? So, I work out, I eat healthy, I try to be conscious of what I put into my body. Yeah, just trying to balance it all out.
Man, yeah, that's good. That's good. It's funny how, I think exercise and food can really make a huge difference on your life and the way you feel. It's
Mm,
it's it's crazy because you wouldn't necessarily think it, especially when you're younger, where you can maybe eat anything and just do crazy things and everything is still pretty cool. But then as you get older, you understand, oh shit, there needs to be a balance, right? I can't just, eat junk all the time or just sit around and not do any exercise. It's a weird kind of thing that you kind of realize. And it's not taught in schools, which is kind of
yeah,
weird.
for sure. And the one thing that I wasn't utilizing during the pandemic, I was doing yoga and when I was auditioning for this film. But once I booked the role, it's so funny, right? What inspires us? Like, is it food that inspires us? Like, as long as we keep getting inspired so that there's movement, right? And once I booked this role, he was like, you have to start training. And I was like, training? He's like, yeah, run. And so I started training with a boxer for 3 months, Carrie. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank on her last name, but she's a semi-pro fighter. Her name is Carrie Christine. Um, and I just started running. And I was like, why does it take for somebody else to tell me to start running? you know, for me to do it. And then I realized,
Mm,
oh my God, whoa, like I start running and like all these inspirational thoughts and feelings. And I was reading a script the other day. I'm running on the treadmill. Oh my God, it all comes to me, right? Like the inspiration comes. Like I need my journal when I'm running. Like it's those, right? Like it's
mm.
so crazy. I don't know. Do you have that?
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. But I think it's like because you were doing a yoga, so you're kind of probably thinking, well, I'm doing good shit right here. So you know what I mean? You don't think I need to add this next thing, to the lexicon. But then once someone mentions it and you start doing it, and then that triggers these different kind of feelings, emotions, endorphins, then
Yeah.
you realize, oh, fuck, I need this.
Yeah.
This is helpful,
For
right?
sure.
I used to get that doing like jujitsu. Like I just love jujitsu. It's insane because it's just like I think but I've heard Rogan kind of describe it as like a chess, but it really is because you're thinking about these new steps you need to take. And okay, in this position last time they caught me in this, so I know to move here and change this. And like when you're doing it all the time, you can see the improvements, right? You start to understand the motions and the connectivity between everything. So you'd be
Mm,
like, oh, if I move there, they're gonna catch me. If I do this, I could then go there, and then I could maybe put this on. And so you just think, and the synapses are going insane. And then it just like the creativity. Whoo!
mm.
Man, it just gets you going.
It's like
Ah,
the flow, right?
yeah.
It's the flow of life. I love that analogy, chess. And like I could just see it. It was like a ballet. Like right when I'm balanced, I find that my life is like that. It's like
Mm,
I have this like really powerful high and then this really low low. And I'm like, universe, are you messing with me right now? Because like I don't know how to explain it. Like, how did the universe know that I needed that like feng shui, you know what I mean? That's kind of
mm.
like qigong. The other thing I want to talk about was we had an all-female stunt choreography team, and our coordinator was Amy Sturdivant. I don't know if I said that right, but I wanted to mention her as well. I mean, we got so lucky on this film. First of all, to have a director that wants to work with so many women. I just appreciate that so much. I don't want to I want to make sure that I express my gratitude for that. Uh,
Mm.
and I kind of felt like a kid, it just reminded me of my gymnastics, but it wasn't as beautiful as thinking about gymnastics with someone else. I think growing up, even though I did gymnastics, it wasn't like a team sport and the flow, right?
Yeah.
God, that was just so beautiful. So yeah, anyways, it just reminded me of my childhood, and I loved the stunts and playing with other people, fighting with other people. So I could see your draw with that.
Yeah. There's something to it. Because I'm like, I try and go to the gym most days, but I just don't enjoy it as much as I enjoy jujitsu. There's
Mm,
there's something with that, or you know, kickboxing, Thai boxing, just those things. There's something different to them than just going like rock climbing is also there's also kind of that thing because as you move on to a different like run and you're trying these harder grips and moves and stuff like that, there's definitely an adrenaline rush with that, but it's still not quite the same. So I think it's that added component of you know, testing yourself against other people that
mhm.
really can, I don't know, trigger that thing sometimes.
Yeah. I
How
love
Yeah, sorry, no.
I know, I was just saying I love that.
Mm,
I think that was the other thing when I was took that time off. I did a lot of commercials and music videos, which it's very short term, you get like 1 day or 3 days at the most. And I was really seeking, I don't know if it's because I was getting older, but I was really seeking more long-term relationships. I think it also speaks volumes even in my personal life. Like I would rotate men every, I don't know, 5 year, something like that. And I got older and I really wanted a long-standing relationship. I found a man that I don't ever foresee leaving, which is new. Um, but also in my career, like I wanted things where, I mean, I still talk to Zaston on a regular. I wanted to build friendships and relationships. And again, that took the work of me working on myself. Because, like, if I can't stand me, how are you going to stand me? Right.
mm,
And
yeah.
so, yeah, I love working with others now. I mean, the opposite of addiction is connection. I love to connect. I'm really grateful when I get an opportunity to do that.
I think it's that thing about bouncing ideas off of people, right? It's that I don't know. It's funny, right? Because we talk about jujitsu and movement and stunt work and that kind of thing, but it's the same with conversation, right?
Mhm.
There's a synergy in it, like connecting with people, sharing those thoughts, those ideas. Even if I was like to say to you, "Oh, you should watch this film," and you're like, I didn't really like it," but you're still, you know what I mean? Like hitting back and forth, that ping pong, that kind of, synchronicity of the flow.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that I think it was definitely missed a lot of the time during the pandemic because not sometimes speaking with people like you normally would speak to people, but it makes a huge difference having that in your life, being able to share those things, talk with that freedom, that confidence that you're not being judged.
Mhm. Right, and then not judging yourself.
Mm.
Again, I'm my biggest critic. Half the times, the voices I hear in my head are the voices in my head, not something that you're saying.
But I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't necessarily think there's like, you know what I mean? Because I think there's sometimes it's just like, you know what I mean? It can stop yourself from doing something stupid.
Right.
But you know what I mean? Because there's plenty of times I've nearly done stupid things. I remember as a kid, there was this wall, and I was like, I'm gonna jump over that wall, and then I was like, actually, dude, what's on the other side of the wall? I'm like, I don't know, I don't care. And then I walked up to the wall, and there was a huge ass drop on the other side. I was like, yo, I'm gonna jump over that wall, man. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But it was all up in this is weird conversation I'm having with myself, you know what I mean? Like no one else is seeing it other than the fact when you're walking with confidence and then you slow down and your head, the conversation is going. You're like, what are you doing? I don't know. I'm gonna try this. Don't do it. You know what I mean? But otherwise, no one knows what you're doing. But
Right.
yeah, and sometimes that does it. Or sometimes it's just like I remember if I got something wrong, right? Sometimes you'd freeze up a bit and you'd be like, oh no, what have I done? God damn it, everyone's gonna. But now I can fluff words having a conversation, and it's just like, who cares? Right? Like, who's gonna take offense? No one. Like, people understand. I wasn't trying to fuck up their name, or I wasn't trying to mess that word. It was just, just these things happen. But you can tell yourself, yeah, don't worry, man, it's cool.
Oh, so while we're at it, my name is actually pronounced Eli, but I always tell people that as long as you call me and just call me, it doesn't matter. It's fine because I go by a different name every day. I mean, it's not a big deal to me. But, I mean, and you know what's so crazy? To your point, is I remember when I was, with the negative thought, I used to get so wrapped up in stumbling on words and I was like my own critic. Like I didn't make sense and like I wasn't, talking about what they were talking about. And like you just the crazy thing is like, right, sometimes I feel like we're in that place at that exact moment to be whatever representation of whatever needs to be. And sometimes it just can't be explained. Sometimes I could say, maybe it's a word that you needed to hear. Maybe it's just one word, right? You just don't know, right? So I just try to show up and hope that, you know, I can be of service in my words, even if they're not proper. Maybe somebody needed to hear the word Ellie. I always tell people, they'll be like, you look familiar. I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Well, you remind me of blah, 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 blah. And I say, well, make sure you call blah, 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 blah. Because like maybe the universe brought me to you so that you can reach it out to that person. Because maybe that person is hurting, or maybe that person has information for you that could help you. Right? We don't know. We're all just beings on this planet trying to figure it all out.
Yeah, no, I think that's the thing, because I think there's times when you'd be like, oh man, that reminds me of blah blah blah, but then that's it, right? You do nothing with that. But then I think now, if someone comes to mind, I'm usually gonna just hit them up and be like, yo, how are you doing, man?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I just watched that thing. Remember we like that thing, or I listened to that song. Remember we went to that gig and blah blah blah. So I thought I'd just hit you up and see how you're doing. You know,
Yeah.
we don't. I think in those younger years we don't do those things. But I think life and experience it helps you understand, like, why do we let these moments go by all the time? Like, let's reach out to that person, say hello. Why not?
Right. We only have right now.
Yeah,
Be here.
exactly.
Be right here. I have a pair of aloe socks. You flip them around. If you don't know what aloe is, it's a yoga line. I'm obsessed. I do my yoga through them. Anyway, the socks flip around on the other side. It says, be here. I love that. It's like, be in your feet. I live right at the ocean. And again, these are the blessings, right, of sobriety for me. I don't know if I could have ever lived at the ocean, when I was under the influence, but I wouldn't have been able to appreciate it like I am now. In the mornings I see the pastel colors, and then in the evenings I see the neon. And around noon, of course, there's this bright blue, and there was dolphins, and I can go put my feet in the sand. And to not get too spiritual, because I know some people cringe, but and I hate to talk about too much of that, but for me, it's just really important to be one with nature, to put my toes in the sand, to look up, like the film. Um, but I'm doing advertising. No, I'm just kidding. Um, but right. I mean, it's important to me that that's also part of my balance is nature, knowing that I'm not in charge. I, I'm here on this planet as a gift. What I do with it, it's up to me and my higher whatever purpose, power, whatever you want to call for me,
Mm.
higher animal, I don't know, higher thing than, I'm just a being trying to be at one with, the universe. So.
Yeah. I I'm I'm down with that. Because you
Sorry, I
just
got really deep there. There's the qigong. Yang.
but
Dark now. We can go dark.
yeah, but I think when you think about it, when you think about existence and just everything, right? And you look at the universe and how friggin' just vast, vast it is, right? To think, oh, we're the only ones. And then it's just like, I was listening to oh gosh, Randall Colston. I mean, his name Randall Colston. He he kind of looks into ancient civilizations, right? And it's just like how Egypt is two different kind of cultures, right? When you look at the architecture and the style, build two very different styles. And it's just like just all of these things and these different events that would have wiped out most of humanity. And we had to restart, and it's just all of these different things have happened. And when you look at it and just look at, how Incan temples were built, that if the sun shines through on this one day of the year, it hits this one point, right? And you're like, how the fuck did they do that?
Right.
So it's just like when you look at all of these crazy things, it's just like, yeah, there must be more. I have no clue what the fuck it is, but it must be more of something somewhere, whatever.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It is weird. It's so deep. It's so deep. But I think I've done enough destruction in my life that again, that's the balance. I feel like I need to balance out a bit more with all, my selfishness. And for me, and that was just what I did when I was drinking and using. And I wasn't, I have a lot of amends to make, whether it's, not throwing anything out the window and picking up trash or whatever it is. I caused a lot of destruction and I was really selfish with my behaviors, and I've caused a lot of destruction in other people's lives. So I hope that I'm able to share and inspire. And, hopefully by the time I lay down into this earth, I'm able to, again, serve a higher purpose and to, do something good, you know, balance
Yeah.
life.
It is like a teaching kind of thing, right? Because it's just, I think we learn all these things in life, and why not share that information?
Mhm.
I think it's like too often you see people with knowledge and they want to squirrel it away, right?
Mhm.
Withhold it from other people, like you don't deserve this.
Mhm.
Oh, if I tell you this, you might usurp me from my position. And that always seems like a crazy mentality to me, right? Because I just think it's just like it's better to be in a room with crazy smart people than be the smartest person in the room. Because I think unless there's those people challenging you, pushing you, you can find yourself devolving. Without conversation, you just find yourself just dulling down. And that's just, ugh, it's the worst feeling in the world. So
Mhm.
it's great to have people to bounce things off of, have
Yeah,
great conversations, just to someone just be like, nah, I don't agree with that, or that's not gonna work. You're like, really? Okay. And then it gets you thinking about, okay, what can I do? How can I change this? What's the
mhm.
next step? And that keeps you moving. That's the petrol of life, as it were. You know what I mean?
That's a good way of life. So much has been given to me. I hope I'm able to give back. But I do remember thinking, I've had those thoughts. I've been that person. I've been that dark person, you know, that have thought, oh, I'm not going to tell anybody because I might not get a job, or I want that job. So, you know,
Mm,
I've done that. I'm guilty. I'm guilty of a lot of shit. I'm far from perfect. And again, that's why I could relate so much to this character. There was a scene in there that I was angry at someone, and that was me fucking hitting that person. You know, it was probably, I mean, there was a lot of emotions that went with that scene. Especially when you're drinking and using, you put yourself in situations and clearly not clear headed to figure out what's really going on. Um, so yeah, all this to be said, I can definitely also relate to the darkness and being the dark person and wondering, why am I not being invited places, and why do I not have a lot of friends, and why is no one honest with me? You know.
mm, yeah. I mean, I think if everyone's on it, if everyone's had those thoughts, you know what I mean? Like, as you said, like, the majority of people have, for however long, right, been like, huh, why would I want that person to be here? Right? You might have just thought it for a split second and then change your mind and be like, what am I doing? Right? Maybe you held on to that mindset for a while. But I think as long as you understand, right? You've seen that thing and then you make that change, it's all power to you, man. Because it's just like, I don't think anyone can say, the people that try and claim that they're lily white full of shit. And we have seen that countless times, right? People calling for someone's cancellation because they said a certain thing, and then someone finds that they said even worse. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, you forgot about that? Yeah, forgot when you went and did that thing. You know what I mean?
Oh my god, that's so true. Huh? That's so true.
Yeah, I think we just need to be honest with ourselves,
Yeah,
right? Of the things that drive us, the things that scare us, right? The things we need in life.
for
But
sure.
you've done that, right? And a lot of people haven't done that.
I try. I want to live this life to the fullest. I want to have no regrets, for sure.
Mm. So, you know, what, like, there's different things I want to like ask you about. All right, let's do this one and then we'll go to the back to the fight scene,
Okay.
right? Because I'm curious about, and it's a thing that we often see in films and TV shows and stuff like that, and that's like the nudity element of it, because it always seems a little one-sided, which is, it's a weird thing. You know what I mean? Because you see like female full frontal and that kind of thing, but then like it's these weird scenes of then the guy's in bed, but then he gets up and you just see the back, and it's just like, we, we know what's there, right? Like, most people have seen the female and male body. Like, there's nothing that's like, no, I've seen a penis, I've seen a vagina, I'm going crazy, it's gonna corrupt me. It's a weird thing that seems to happen, and there doesn't seem to be any logical reason for it. But what, when you get a role and it calls for that, like, what do you think? Like, especially when there's other moments, right? So there's the moment with you and Ben. This is Ben rather than Max. This is just like, come on.
Because that's the actors' names.
Yeah. But it's like, because you have the scene with him, but they don't really, you know what I mean? We don't see him like just topless a bit, but then you're kind of, yeah, we see you.
Mhm.
Like, so what, when you read a script and you see all of this, is it like something you'd be like, why? Like, why is it like that?
Well, there's a few answers. Um, One, I'm also a business person, and it sells. So there's that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, as an actor in lead roles, a lot of times you get back end. Um, so it can be a smart business move if it's called for.
Mm,
Um, I made this deal with myself that I would only start showing my boobs at the age of 40 if I hadn't made it on Playboy a long time ago. And well, Playboy's, I don't even know if it's still around anymore. And I changed. And I hit 40 and you know, my body is, not perfect. I've had two kids. I bet I've breastfed children, so it's like these things served a purpose. Um, I'm pretty comfortable in my own skin. So it wasn't it was called for. That's my one note. It depends on the script. This script, that was nothing. My dad didn't like it. My kids didn't like it. They were like, "Couldn't you have given me some notice here?" All right, turn around and cough. I was doing the strict search, but
yeah.
yeah. So I don't I don't have a problem with it, but I'm also pretty okay with myself sexually. Um, yeah, I don't have any issues in that. Um, and also, I think as an artist, in order for me, my personal belief is like, which has gotten me into trouble, is that like if I can't, show all of who I am on screen, whether that be physically or emotionally or mentally, then like, am I really doing my job?
Mm,
Um, and one more point. In Europe, which we live in America, it's no big deal. Tits are like no big deal. So again, I think it's like how we're raised. Ideally it would be nice if we didn't have to show our boobs and everything. But whatever, it is what it is. If it's called for it, it's called for it, and I don't have a problem doing it as long as I'm not known as the tit chick. If Mo and Joe don't have a starring, that's the names. There's a joke, Mo and Joe. There's another one, but I won't go there. If they need their debut in order to, get a story across and to, get somebody to like really think on a higher level and to see a different side, like then there's a purpose. And that might have been the purpose that somebody joined in to watch that Mo and Joe, you know.
yeah. Because yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, right? Because that's the thing. It's the human body. Like,
Mhm.
everyone has seen it, but it's just this. I just find it interesting when you have, people talking about equality on sets and changes that need to be made, but then there's still this thing where there's not really an equality, right? And it's an odd one. It there doesn't really seem to be a reason for it, yeah. Which is like, everyone watched Game of Thrones, right? And there was everyone was showing everything in Game of Thrones,
Yeah.
and no one lost their minds, right? No, like it was still one of the most popular shows on TV. So it's just like, what are we doing? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think that's women writers maybe can help when you have a woman, go through a male script to make sure that it's, for me, it's like 50% of the population. So if you're going to have a male writer writing all these male characters, as long as there's a female coming in to write a female character and how she sees the female character, so it can be like gender neutral. I mean, would be in a perfect world. Like I love major motion picture where it is a representation of one of each, or it's just balanced, however, gender, whatever, just a little bit of flavor here and there. So I mean, again, that's such a tough question because how do we fix that so that it's more equal, right? That's why I always say,
Yeah.
like I'm reading a script right now where the guy's like, okay, you can pick the character that you want. We'll change the gender, and it's clearly a man script. Like it's just, I'm like, okay, but you're only going to reach half the population. Like, can we just have a woman do a rewrite and just rewrite? And I want to make the lead character a woman. Just have her rewrite that one role so that it can be a little bit. I mean, it's like I'm not going to watch a lot of like male driven. I mean, I will, but I usually get a little bored. I like something I can connect to, so, and hopefully, women are able to make more money and get out into the universe and buy their own movies. And, I just think it makes it more interesting for me, but again, I'm a woman. So,
You're
yeah.
only telling me that now.
Huh?
You're only telling me that now? Come on.
I would love to play a man, I mean, that would be fun. Then I'll keep the male writer. But even with race, this film was, it was done, my husband was black, and I mean, again, it was a representation of each. It was definitely a high intensity male character, woman character. Again, it was just really well balanced in so many different ways.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I think that is, it does add something like to a story. Like I don't think we need to do like on every single film or every TV show it has to be exactly the same. But yeah, if you're telling certain stories, right, it gives a different flavor to them if you're mixing it up, if you're having some diversity
Yeah,
in front and behind the camera.
for sure.
You know?
I mean, I have to just throw this in. I'm sorry I keep talking about gender, but like when you have a gender balanced set, it's really lovely. Because if you have too much female energy or too much male energy, it can sometimes really clash.
Mm,
But if you get the right people, right, it doesn't really matter as long as they're healthy. And if you're able to, if you have the luxury to go ahead and combine healthy males and healthy females, and diverse, right? Not just, we're talking all different diversities. As long as they're healthy and they're all kind of working together, we can reach such a bigger geographic, right? We can do more change. We can do more good. We can, you never know. Somebody could be about to do something crazy and then they watch a movie and they get out of themselves and they learn a lesson. And especially with this film, it has such a different character arc, where it's like, shit, that one movie could change someone's life, could get them out of their funk. You just don't know with art. That's what I love. That's what I love
mm.
about it,
One thing I want to ask you, right? Did the color of the scrubs, like uniform, the prison garb, was that done to reflect the mindset
Yeah. So Dawn
Okay, yeah, because
comes
I
out of every
noticed dark, dark Jane, not good Jane, light sky blue Jane, centered, balanced, calm.
well, I mean, I think they were blue, but you'll notice like he had everything so thought out and just I mean, amazing. I ended up changing my scrubs when I went to go to the prison to get I mean, when I went to go get the lethal injection.
Yeah.
But you'll notice everything in my hair, from my hair, like it was like half up, half down. I started out with it all up and then
Mm,
it was half up, half down. So he literally had everything all laid out. And even from the colors, if you look at the color scheme in it, you know, bad Jane, good Jane, different colors.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I wondered about that, and I was like, "Oh, is that done for a thing, or was that just coincidence?" So
You
I'm glad you were able to confirm that for me.
You gotta watch it because there's little things in there for you guys out there that haven't seen I mean, there are little things in there that you not only hopefully with the acting and the script, but also with the coloring and the hair and the makeup. I mean, Destin thought of it all. So I'd like to
Mm.
take credit, but, I can only do so much. And hair and makeup and yeah. All those tattoos, I don't have one tattoo. They were all painted on.
How long did that take?
Not that long. We had an amazing hair and makeup.
Uh,
Yeah. She was pretty amazing, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. She did it pretty quick.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's definitely impressive. So the fight scene, right, where you well, life changes for Jane, as it were, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you were channeling in that fight scene, right?
Mhm. Sorry, I have a 3 o'clock interview and they just texted me.
Oh, oh man, what's the time? I've lost kind of track of time, man.
Sorry, I just looked down and I'm like, "Oh shit, I didn't pay attention to your question. I'm sorry."
Oh, no worries, no worries. It was just like yeah, what like that you were channeling at that moment, right? With that fight. Um, and I read that you were picturing, Harvey Weinstein when you were venting yourself.
Right. You know, um, I hadn't really come out about it, and it was something that I really struggled with. I'm sure a lot of people have had struggles in their life, and this was definitely a complicated story in my experience. And I was just angry at the whole situation. Angry at myself because I had a part in it. As hard as that may sound, not everyone does, but for me, I did. I wanted the easy way out, and I didn't want to go to school, and I didn't want to do the work. I wanted to have someone else give me the prize, right?
Mm,
Clearly, that's not true because I ended up auditioning for Destin and I didn't have to do anything. And I did the work and I got the role. So, very complicated situation, right? But I did have some anger there, anger at myself, anger at him, anger at those around us, anger at the generations before, and I just utilized it. And Right? Like I think that's when we can utilize our pain and our frustration in a positive way. Um, that's a beautiful thing.
oh no, for sure, right? Because I think there's throughout life there's these teachable moments, right? We'll hit something and we'll do something one way, and then you'll look back and be like, why did I do that, right? And then you might come up against that similar thing again, and then now you're like, okay, when I did that,
Mhm.
that didn't sit well with me, so this time I'm doing this.
Right. And hopefully I will attract from here on out what I'm willing to work with from here on out. as opposed to being this different person and attracting a totally different energy and vibe. Because I do believe that whatever energy you're going by, you will attract that same energy. So hopefully, since I've changed it, like Jane did in the film, I hope that I'm going to attract the same beautiful energy into my life, in my personal life.
Mm, yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like it's been working for you.
You should
Right?
check back in a month. We'll see.
Oh man. Well, no, I think it definitely sounds like you're doing right things, and that's great. Like, do you have your next role kind of ready? Like, do you know what you're doing next?
I have some things in the pipeline. I've got a film in Texas I'm leaving for shortly, and then one that's we're looking for distribution right now. So that should be out shortly, and then hopefully I'll see you again, and we'll talk about that one and some other things that I'm not allowed to talk about. But yeah, I'm hoping to continually be working on one thing or the other, and if not life, So I'm always working. You just made
Hey,
me know.
that's the best way to be for sure. And yeah, once this new film is ready, definitely come back for a conversation.
Great.
We definitely need to do that.
Thank you so much.
And no problem. I appreciate you giving me your time.
Thank you. And I'm going to just plug the movie. You can watch it on Amazon. You can watch it on demand, Apple TV, The Way.
Yeah, people, the links are in the episode information, so make sure you go check it out and watch Eli do her thing.
Thank you.
No problem at all.
Eli and a bunch of others, amazing human beings that I got the opportunity and to work with. So
Yeah, no, it's definitely, and it's always an impressive endeavor to see these things come together, and you know what I mean. Just hear the positive experiences people have making these things. So yeah, hope it's extremely successful to you,
thank you.
and yeah, just hey, everything just keeps moving in this great direction.
Thank you so much.
Hey,
Thank
no
you
problem.
for the interview. Thank you for being you and calm and wonderful and understanding. And keep doing you because it's freaking beautiful.
Thank you. I like I don't know what to say, but yeah, thank you. I appreciate
They all agree. They're just not here to tell you
that.
that.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, no, definitely come back. We definitely the door is always open for you. And yeah, good luck with this film and all the things that are coming.
Thank you so much.
All right, you take care, Eli.
You too.
All right.